5 minutes after 10 o'clock. Bob Kennedy is in the studio, and he is with Berkshire Hathaway Home Team Realty, and this is the portion of the broadcast week when we talk about real estate, buying and selling a home, maybe becoming a landlord or a property manager or renting out one room. I was talking to Robin about this morning. I used to, when I was younger, have one room at this lady's house up in New York. After my family moved away and I moved back, I stayed in one room. Those were the days.
Those were the days. And you know what? If you were in New York today, you'd probably still have one room.
Or the equivalent size, these tiny little places, right?
It's really hard to, you don't have a lot of people running around without roommates up there.
Yeah, right.
It's just very, it hasn't changed. And a room qualifies as like 6 by 6.
Yeah, I know. Well, good morning, Bob. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
How's the real estate business?
Real estate business is good. It's getting better. We were just talking about it outside. Everybody's homes are worth more than they were a year ago, and in almost all cases. So things are getting there.
In this business, in radio, you don't need much floor space for the studio, but you need a lot of land if you have an antenna. I mean, unless you're in a city and you can put it on a tall building. But usually you need a lot of acreage to just have one antenna.
Wow.
Or tower. They don't call them antennas, they call them towers. But
depends on, those, what are the big, with those like coast-to-coast stations?
Oh, yeah. Well, that one, I think KTK or one of them has, it's as tall as the World Trade Center. I am not exaggerating.
Wow.
It is absolutely that tall. Can you imagine changing the light bulb in that thing?
Heck no.
But see, the land has to be big enough so that if it fell over, it wouldn't hit anything. So you have to have large, spacious amounts of land to have a tower that tall.
You learn something new every day.
Just like I tell you. I don't know why.
It's good to
And you
know.
have to keep the grass cut. You do, because if the grass isn't cut, that does something to the broadcast. I don't understand it, but...
Well, I know when you have easements, you have a lot of electrical easements or power line easements. Those roads are almost always, those easements are almost always kept up, and I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not, but maybe that's just some kind of federal law.
Have you ever had anybody that had a piece of property that was approached by one of the cell phone tower companies, and they actually cashed in because now they're basically forever renting a tiny little piece of their property to that tower?
I have not, but a lot of people do. It's kind of like having a billboard. They'll pay you, X amount of dollars to have that space. Yeah.
So do you have any inside information about the possibility of the turnpike coming through Marion County?
No, I don't.
Remember there was a talk. It was going to be extended up through western Marion County, through Denellen.
Yeah, I'm not privy to that.
You could buy it. You could buy that land now, and then just wait for them to need it really bad.
Yeah,
and then I guess you could.
That's the way investors do it.
And they have to know.
But they're those guys are in the know.
Or an exit. If you had land near the interstate that would one day become an exit.
Sure, be awesome. Be awesome.
But you're talking about owning a house, living in a house, and
well, the whole idea of home ownership, it's interesting. Berkshire Hathaway is obviously owned by Warren Buffett, and he was on a I think it was Fox News or Bloomberg or something a couple weeks ago, and they were asking him about all these. He's got so many stakes in companies that deal with home ownership, carpet companies, mobile home companies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he through his holdings, he's the second largest franchisee of real estate brokerage in the country, and that's how fast we're growing. And they asked him about home ownership, and he said, if you can buy you can get money for a 30-year mortgage at under 4%, he says that is just like one of the greatest investments that there is in America today. Mm-hmm. And it's like, if he's saying it, when he says it, it really makes sense. We say, oh, it's a good idea to own a home, but when the richest guy pretty much in the world says it, it really kind of rings true, because you're buying an asset that let's face it, the crash is well behind us. Everything's on the mend.
Right.
I mean, where can you get into anything that's going to appreciate in time, and you're getting it for 4%?
Yeah.
The money
really,
is
really.
it's still historically low.
Yeah.
The rates are still historically low.
I thought I was reading somewhere that Warren Buffett was 60 when he got his start, and as far as the big money that he's made.
It could be.
I don't know if I read that
he's
right or
in
not.
his 80. I think he was rich.
How old is he
I think
now?
he hit it pretty good right off the bat.
Oh, really? Well,
Yeah,
maybe
he's in
that's-
his 80s.
So, wow.
So when people come to apply for loans at financial institutions, and there are people that are moving here and they're going through the immigration process legally, can they apply to own a home before they become citizens, or do they have to
Absolutely.
wait?
No, they don't have to wait. They just have to meet the criteria of a loan. You can't. Yeah, I mean they're not held up because of there's things they have to do that are additional steps. But as far as the process goes, no, there's no difference.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, there's a lot. Well, you look in places like Miami's probably the one that jumps to mind. I mean, they got tons of international money coming in down there from South America, Central America. It's always been a haven for that, but places like Venezuela, when the countries get unstable, they want to put their money somewhere. Russia was pumping tons of money into prime real estate in places. For a while it was London, it's Miami, but it's kind of, as Russia's getting into some issues, it's kind of tailed off a little bit, but there's always, in the 80s, it was Japan. Before Japan crashed their economy, they were going to be the people that owned everything. Now, a lot of luxury properties all across the country, especially in California.
Oh.
China, big investors, big investors in U.S. real estate.
They got so much land of their own. You'd think they'd be happy over there.
I think they like what they can get for their dollars over here, and they're after, as a rule, they're after trophies. They're not looking for a duplex. They're looking for Malibu mansions.
Okay.
Yeah.
When people are looking for homes now, parents are looking for homes with extra bedrooms to accommodate their children, but are they also looking for a home that might have an extra room for a home office, since more and more people have businesses out of their homes?
Sure. People are, you always want space. So if you have a way to create, even if it's not really set up as what we would think of as an in-law suite, if you have the kind of a split plan that's got its own bathroom and bedroom at the end, it's nice for a grown child, nice for a parent, guests coming in. And yeah, more and more people, we're working with a couple right now. They moved to the Villages and they're buying a place. And, she still works for Wells Fargo, actually. And, she works from home. She made sure she had the extra bedroom, boom.
Nice.
Off you go.
How does it work with condominiums? You own the condominium, right? But if you're in a part of a building, once you own it, are you set, or do you sometimes get costs that a homeowner that owns his own whole building, like a normal house, wouldn't have? Do you have different costs that I wouldn't know about?
You would know about it because they would send you an assessment. The way a condo works is, let's say you have 100 units. Everyone has a fee simple title, a warranty deed to own that unit. You own the four walls. There's common areas that you pay maintenance for, so they keep up the pool, they keep up the grass, they keep up everything outside the walls. Okay, there's probably roofs included in that, exterior painting, all those things. If there's ever a situation where there's a major improvement that needs to be done, then they'll do what they call a special assessment. So if they have to replace the roof and it's $100,000, everybody's going to get a prorated share of that to do.
Oh, wow.
But you own it. You have to abide by the laws of the condominium, homeowners association, with regards to renting it, with regards to pets and things like that. but it is fee simple ownership. You're from up north where in New York they have a lot of co-ops. A co-op's a different situation.
And you have a phone call, so let's take that call. Get your headset on. And good morning. You're on the air with Bob Kennedy.
Yeah, hi. Hi, Mr. Kennedy. Thank
Good.
you, Larry. Concerning the federal government laws, are there new laws when you decide to sell your house, new federal laws, as far as to the liability?
Can you give me a little bit more specifics?
Well, we want to sell like our house.
Yes.
And I would like to know if there are any new federal government laws that tax-wise that I would owe the government.
You have, are you married?
Yes.
Then you have any income, you have equity in the house, I take it?
Yes.
Then you receive up to $500,000 tax-free on the sale of that home.
Okay.
That's it.
Tax-free.
You've owned it for 2 years?
14.
Yeah, you could sell that house, and there's no, unless you make over $500,000 on it, there's no taxes due to the government.
Oh, okay. That's what I was wanting to know.
Another great reason to own a home.
Okay. Thank you so very much.
Well, good luck.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow, that's a great question. All right, we'll take a little break and we'll be right back. If you have a question, don't hesitate to call. You've got a good 15 minutes left with Bob. The number is 622-9622. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. A warm day with clouds and sun today with a shower and thunderstorm around mainly during the afternoon hours. The high 84 to 88. For tonight, mostly cloudy with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm in the area early. Low 66 to 70. Mostly cloudy tomorrow with a shower or thunderstorm around at the afternoon. High 84 to 88. Thursday, variable cloudiness with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm. The high 83 to 87. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Whether you're building it up or knocking it down, get it done, rent it now. Sunbelt Rentals is here to make your job a little easier. Our knowledgeable staff will help you find the right equipment for any job, big or small. Did you know that Sunbelt Rentals carries heaters, air conditioners, generators, lighting, traffic control, and so much more? So whether you're building it up or knocking it down, we've got the equipment you need. Get it done, rent it now. And right now, for a limited time, you can have it for less. Just by mentioning this ad, if you rent it Friday afternoon, you can keep it the whole weekend and only pay for one day. But this is a limited time offer, so stop into Sunbelt Rentals today, Northwest 27th, just a quarter mile east of I-75. For more information, just give us a call, 352-369-9101. 352-369-9101. Sunbelt Rentals. Get it done, rent it now. 352-369-9101.
Career Source Citrus Levy Marion brings together business and community partners, economic development leaders, and educational providers to connect employers with qualified, skilled talent and job seekers with employment and career development opportunities. Tune in the first and third Wednesday of each month at 9:30 a.m. to Career Source Citrus Levy Marion and learn how they can help you.
All right, 19 minutes after 10 o'clock. Bob Kennedy is here from Berkshire Hathaway Home Team Realty. And before the end of the show, we'll give you Bob's phone number at his office. Right now, the number at the studio is 622-9622. And you do have somebody waiting patiently, Bob. Good morning. Thank you for waiting. You're on the air now with Bob Kennedy.
Good morning, Mr. Kennedy.
Good morning.
Thank you for your program and being on the air, taking your time out to answer these questions. My question being, if you wanted to move into one of these, I call them private communities because they make the HOA fees what they are, and there's
Right.
a big
Yeah.
difference between one community and another. But what I'm getting at is you walk in and you sign an agreement that you're willing to pay $200 for the HOA fees and what they include and the benefits of being in this community. But the big thing is, can they turn around and just up the fee to anything they want after a couple of years? Or is there some kind of criteria that keeps the occupants or the homeowners in these communities, it gives them any, a safety net or something.
Well,
I'm just curious about
no,
that.
that's a really good question. We get asked that a lot, and the answer is I've never seen around here where in HOA completely there's been big disputes from time to time, but all in all, the fees end up being dictated by the homeowners association. Things come up for a vote. You have a board that kind of runs things. Most of these communities have a management company also involved. So, they're going to nobody's looking to everybody lives together. They want to keep it fair. You want to get what you want to get your money's worth, and that's what happens in virtually all these situations. I've not seen anyone where all of a sudden the fees just jumped up to some crazy rate.
Well, we have one community here in the Ocala area that was made the news with some of the increases they had in the past, and since then, I noticed that a lot of these outfits, the fees have gone down because they know the people just can't afford it with this economy and the interest rates that you receive on your CDs, etc. Now, again, I'm talking like big name outfits. I don't know if I can mention any, but what's to stop them from saying, okay, we're going up $100 a month or something?
Well, there's also something called the market. And if you price yourself out of the market, it's going to affect the values and the properties and everything else. And after a while, the developer has less and less say in that. And a couple of the things that you're alluding to had more to do with ownership of different utilities and things like that, more than just the outright cost. But I wouldn't worry about it too much. You do your due diligence. You read over your HOA. Have a good agent representing you, and you'll be fine.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Take care.
Yeah, I guess if you're living in a traditional home and you decide to move into a community, that's probably something you're really wondering about,
Yeah, well, there's people they live in those communities because they want certain things, and you want to make sure that the biggest thing that you want to be careful of is that the HOA is solvent. And you see that more in condos than
what does that mean exactly?
Well, we talked about assessments and things like that. You got to make sure that the building is sound financially.
Oh, okay.
They're not going to hit somebody with an assessment because there's a shortfall in revenue to the community.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but again, you ran into a lot of that when people were going through really difficult times. You're not seeing it too much now.
But you also have to own a golf cart, because otherwise, how are you going to get from where you park your RV to your house?
That's right. Golf carts aren't a bad way to get around.
They look fun. That's my dream of the future. I'm going to have an RV, park it a mile away, because you can't park it in your yard.
Yeah.
Have that little golf cart waiting for me when I get home.
Yeah. A lot of people own them. They don't golf. And
I like the ones that look like little Rolls Royces too, by the way.
Yeah. Those things are not cheap. They can get decked out and cost some money.
How many times a year do you have to take different classes for everybody in your office to keep up their licenses and things?
The way every 2 years you have to do continuing ed in real estate. Mm-hmm. And I think it's 14 hours continuing ed every 2 years to keep your license active.
And what kind of questions do they hit you with?
Well, mostly if it's continuing ed, it's going to be things like new licensing laws, mm-hmm. Changes in closing statements, things like that, just to keep you abreast of anything that's new and going on. Like, for instance, come August, there's going to be major changes in what we call closing statements, mm-hmm. the HUD 1. And so there's a lot of title companies, associations that are doing seminars, because it's not going to make it. It's going to benefit the consumer, but for people in the industry, it's changing a lot of the vernacular of how we do the business.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So we don't like change. So it's going to be, we'll be complaining about it for 2 years.
So do you have a lot of do you serve as and I guess this would be true for all real estate agents, do you serve as like the questioning post for people? Do they call your office all the time with questions similar to what you get on the radio show?
Sure, we do. We get email. People email us questions. They'll send us stuff through our Facebook page. In today's world, the way real estate works is there's a lot of public information out there.
Yeah.
And people are educated. So they're just looking to get additional information. So we try and guide them along, whether it's a refinance, put them in the right direction, and just kind of, that's kind of what we do. We're there to serve the public.
Do you, on your Facebook page, do you have the properties that are available? Do you have photographs and descriptions of the different properties?
We'll put them in every once in a while, but that's mostly on our website.
Oh, okay.
Because people want to search. If they're searching, they're not, they'll come across, we'll have a featured property here and there, but mostly they'll search on websites.
I think last week was one of the featured properties. Was that the $180,000 home we were talking about?
Yes, the one over in Cimarron.
And you figured out what the monthly amount would be for that?
Yes.
And the drum roll?
The drum roll is, now I have to even put on my glasses. Based on a $180,000 sale price, if you put down 10% and you have an interest rate of 3.75%, your total payment is $1,256 a month.
Wow.
That's $960 in principal and interest. Property taxes and homeowners insurance make up the rest. So
wow, isn't that great?
that's what we talk about, what Warren Buffett was talking about with cheap money. Mm-hmm. That's pretty astronomical. If you had let's say you're buying something really expensive. Let's say you're buying a $300,000 house.
Right.
And you put down 10%. Your monthly payment for owning a home at $300,000 is $1,900.
Wow.
Gosh.
So that's
on the lower end of things, there was a double wide home, $400 a month is the payment for the home,
right,
and then just about $300 for the rent of the spot it's on,
right.
So it's about $700 a month.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, why would somebody do that? Because once the house is paid for, you still got that land to rent.
Yeah, that's a different concept. You don't own. There's a situation where you don't have fee simple ownership. You own like you own a boat or an automobile. You own the mobile home, but you don't own the land.
Yeah, but I was thinking for $700 a month. What?
You don't have to convince me.
What kind of a house would that buy?
Well,
$700 a month.
If you went back to,
I guess do the reverse figuring or whatever.
That will give you well over $100,000.
Wow.
That's wonderful.
It's amazing.
So if you had a $110,000 purchase price and you put down 20%, let's go down, most people put down 10 or 5.
That is amazing.
$890 a month for everything. Principal, interest, taxes, insurance.
Wow.
So, and that's for $100,000.
Bob, what is your phone number at your office?
622-9700, and anybody at the office, all of our agents could help you out, answer your questions.
And where's your office? What's your address?
2161 East Fort King Street, and we're in the Oakland Hills office park in the Villages.
Oh, okay. Bob, thank you.
Enjoyed it, as always.
See you next week.
Okay.
All right, we'll be right back.
News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. Possible ISIS candidates finding pushback from a lot of countries in the UK.
A plane carrying 21-year-old Wahid Ahmed touching down here overnight, with Ahmed immediately arrested for terrorism offences. Another 8 Britons, all thought to be his relatives, are expected to follow shortly, all deported by Turkey after being stopped, according to Turkish authorities, as they attempted to cross into Syria.
Fox Radio, Simon Owen. Militants attacking a government complex in Somalia. The siege now underway. There are reports of hostages and an arrest in yesterday's deadly shooting at a North Carolina community college.
Kenneth Morgan Stansel III faces an